If your evaluations aren't converting, it's not because patients can't afford it. It's because you don't have a system that positions you as the expert in their mind and gives patients confidence that if they pay you, they'll get a result. Let me be blunt. In April, this clinician had a 0% conversion rate. Zero. 2 months later, 80% for the month. No change to the sales system, no change to marketing, just one shift, the clinical skill set. That kind of turnaround doesn't happen by accident. It's what happens when you stop winging it, you stop guessing, and you start using a systematic, algorithmic clinical framework that gets right to the root cause with clarity and builds massive buy in on day one. In this episode, I'll show you exactly how they did it and why most clinicians never will.
All right, guys, welcome back. Today we are going to pull back the curtain on what it actually takes to build a high-performing clinician inside of a cash-based practice. This is not a highlight reel. This is what happens when a great clinician is struggling and there's a great owner that makes the right investment in a real mentorship system that changes everything. So I'm joined by two people that I deeply respect, both named Chris, so this will be interesting. We've got Chris Roble, who is the owner of Physio Room, which is some cash-based practices with multiple locations. I think, Chris, you guys have three locations?
Four.
Sorry about that, man. And then we have Chris Hildenbrand, who is an employee in that practice, who was at 0% conversions and then jumped up to 80% conversions in under 90 days. So we're going to talk about the burnout, the turning point, the systems that changed everything, and how Physio Rooms goes about creating results that most people only dream about. Chris Roble, can you give us, a quick 30, 60-second version of who you are and what Physio Room stands for?
Yeah, absolutely. Graduated from PT school about 14 years ago and started in an in-network practice and just got tired of the burnout, the rat race, the turn 'em and burn 'em model, and decided to launch Physio Room about 7, 8 years ago now. And it's just quality over quantity. That's what we do 100% of the time. It's our challenging of the status quo of healthcare. It's just who we are as people and who the company is as a brand.
Right on, man. That's awesome. 14 years. It's a long time. You feel old yet or what?
Starting.
Cool. So Chris Hildenbrand, why don't you give us a quick background too, kind of where you were before the PRA and where you are now, kind of what your role is.
Yeah, on the younger spectrum of things, 1 year out of PT school. Yeah, I was working in a regular outpatient clinic, and then similar thing. I was like getting pretty overwhelmed and was looking for more quality than quantity and found Physio Room. And with that, you have to produce quality care. And that's something that I was starting to realize that, man, I haven't been able to do that as well. And so that's where PRA came into the picture, and we'll get into it, but it's definitely been a worthy investment.
Dude, isn't it crazy how there's levels to PT, and when you're in the insurance network, it's like you're maybe not even aware of the levels that are there, right? Because the standard is already set kind of low. Like the standard in insurance clinic is like 80%, right? You give someone back to 80% and it's pretty good. Then most of the time in an insurance clinic, people are only getting to 80% of that. Right? So it's like insurance already doesn't care if they're getting back to the level of things that they want to get back to. And then you're only getting them back to 75, 80%. They kind of always have this thing. But most people get most of the way better. And then, most people call themselves a pretty good clinician. Then you go somewhere like Physio Rooms and you get exposed. I don't know if you were before or not, before getting there, but you're exposed to brand new levels of things. And it's like, oof, like there's a lot more to this than most PTs gather. Does that kind of hit home for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's important to highlight, dude, because so many people don't even realize that because they just don't get exposed to those higher levels. So let's talk about that, man. Like, when you first started, what was showing up for you in the evals, like before joining the PRA? Like, tell me a little bit about how things went and how you felt during them.
I had a sense of direction and was like, only being a year out of PT school, we had this way to go about things. But when you're in more cash based, you're not getting these pre-diagnoses from other healthcare professionals. People just come in and be like, I have XYZ going on, help me. And so you're really their primary care, which is exciting, but it was tough to try and like find the root cause. And so as I started to go through this PRA program going on, you can take this route and then go back to this and rule up, rule down. Before it, confidence was a little low. And, we have really good clinicians at Physio Room. And, there's a little bit of that comparison game. Like, these PTs know their stuff and they're doing really well. And I feel like I'm kind of swimming in all directions, not sure which route to take. So the program definitely helped me start to like choose a path, go down it, because I know what I know now, instead of just, let's just shotgun this. Hopefully something hits.
Yeah. It sounds like really surrounding yourself with a big team. Like, it's not like one or two clinicians. Like, you guys have a solid team of really great clinicians that kind of really opened your eyes to all of the improvements probably that there there was to be made. Which, by the way, I just want to say that I appreciate your vulnerability in sharing and coming on the podcast and sharing, because it's a tough thing to do, and it's going to be very helpful to a lot of clinicians out there that feel the same way but don't have an environment that makes it okay for them to talk about it. So you should be proud of your ability to do that, and I just want to say thank you. So let's keep down this emotional rabbit hole of vulnerability. Can you describe like how you felt when you hit the end of a month and you had 0% conversions from evals to plan care? Like, what did that feel like?
Yeah, we do a weekly meeting every week, which is very helpful because it's just black and white. Like, you're either hitting the goal or you're not. And I was seeing me not hitting the goal, and yeah, it sucks. As like someone who works really hard to get to where you're at as a clinician, and you're not seeing the results, you're like, okay, what am I doing wrong? And everyone else is hitting their goals, so there's just this like, man, am I a failure? Am I like not doing the right things? Am I even in the right spot? Like, should I go somewhere else? Like, all these thoughts can just flood your head and you doubt yourself. But at the end of the day, what I really appreciate about Chris and Physio Room is like, one of our core values is go farther together, and you have this team behind you to like push you to be the best that you can be. Like they said in the interview process, this job will grow you more personally than professionally. And that's definitely what I've felt. Is in my other job, it's just like there's not enough time for people to invest in each individual person. And like when he brought up PRA and he was like saying like, this is what you're going to learn, this is where it's going to get you, like these are the goals, I was like, really? Like, you're going to invest in me? Like, awesome. Like, this is exactly what I need, because 0%, I want to get that up. Like, we have to get that up, and I want to get my confidence back up. And that's exactly what the direct trajectory has been. So.
Hell yeah. That's got to feel good too, knowing that you've got not just a team, but the man above everything like has your back and like wants to see you succeed. Because I mean, to be honest, there's plenty of places that would just be like at the end of a month, like fucking you're out. Like this can't happen. So go farther together. That's like just Chris embodying the fucking core value, which is awesome. How did that make you feel? Like when he told you he was making that investment?
Really good. It made me feel like seen, because in my other job, it was just kind of like each individual. It just made me feel like we are truly trying to establish our mission and vision of challenging the status quo of healthcare. But you're only going to do that if your employees, if your clinicians feel seen, feel taken care of, and feel challenged. Not a lot of people, like, they just get into their groove. They don't want to continue to grow, and they're just like, yep, this is the best out there. And I was like, nope, that's not it. And even though it's an uncomfortable feeling, it's a good feeling because you start to see the work pay off. That's what I feel like Chris is all about, is like, what else can we do better? How else can I support you? How else can we support each other? Where's our weakest link? Where's our toughest link? How can we get everyone on the same page? That's one way to do it, is, hey, let's invest in this program that has been tested, has been tried, and is getting results. So.
Hell yeah. So then, when you were at 0%, like you mentioned some self-doubt, were you second guessing like your clinical decisions, your identity, like your choice to get in the field, all the above? Like what was going on inside mentally there?
Yeah, I mean, when I truly hit that 0, all of the above, I was like, what's going on here? But no, like as I just started to see it, it was like, okay, there's some complicated cases out here, and I wasn't prepared to fully like be confident and be like, this is what it is. This is how we attack it. So yeah, that self-doubt, you know, and like my clinical like differential diagnosis and all of that, it was like just very muddy. And as I continued to go through this course, it just started to clear up. And when that happens, when you know what you know, your confidence gets higher, and therefore the client's confidence gets higher. And then they're like, yeah, like I literally had someone earlier this week say like, man, it seems like you really know what you're doing. And that felt great to like hear, is like, yeah, I do know what I'm doing. And it's because I've been putting in this work and I've been challenged, and, you know, there's so many stepping stones to it, but it's nice to know that clients are seeing that and they're reaffirming you too. So.
Dude, that's the best. That's awesome, man. I'm happy for you. So let's bump over to Roble. Roble, what were you seeing, you know, in that time period, like in real time as the owner? Like, was it a red flag or just something you believe that could be coached through?
No, I don't think it was a red flag because, you know, during the interview process, when we had some candidates on paper that were essentially better than Chris, but they didn't have the core values. They weren't as good of a person as Chris was, and that's truly what we're looking for. Is we're looking for winners. Star basketball player, played in college. You know, he met every one of our core values. He came hungry, all the things that you look for in a candidate. And we made the decision wholeheartedly at that point to go all in on Chris. So we know that when we hire people, there's going to be some ebbs and flows, and you got to be punched in the face a few times to figure out, you know, you need to learn some things. So we knew it was coming. I wasn't worried because I knew who Chris was at his core.
Yeah, I think that's a really great message for all clinic owners to hear, is that when you're hiring clinicians, don't just look at who they are on paper. You know, if you have core values and you're a clinic owner and they're just sitting in a drawer somewhere and you don't know what they are, your employees don't know what they are, it's like nobody's living by them. So really dialing them in and being okay with them, you know, evolving over time. And then hiring based on the core values. That's going to get you the right people that, even if there are some ebbs and flows and some hiccups, which are to be expected, as you mentioned, Chris, that you're going to be able to work through it and they're going to put in the work to do the thing. So as you were going through, like, what point did you, you know, realize that something really needed to change and you needed to make an investment or do something a little bit outside of the box for Chris too?
Like I said, you know, there's going to be some good weeks, there's going to be some bad weeks. And when there starts to be a trend and there starts to be consistency in the off track category, you're like, all right, well, we need to investigate. Is this Chris? Is this the clients that he's getting? Is this marketing? Like, you can't always think that it's just one thing. It's always multifaceted for sure. And so, you know, just like PT, we had to invest in all the things. And I think that comes back to me as ownership and creating clarity on expectations and all of that. And I got to take ownership for what we do as leaders in the organization. But Chris needed some support, and we could see that, and I'm grateful we had the opportunity.
Wait, you mean clinic owners should like know their numbers and where people are coming from to be able to to assess things beyond just the face value?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, when it came down to it, what made you go all in on development instead of going down the road of potentially finding a replacement?
Oh man, I mean, that goes back to trauma of the first business, right? One of my partners in the first business, he always used to just really get really weird about investing in people. And he's like, well, what happens if we pay for this course that they're going to go to and then they leave? And we've all heard it, but what happens if you don't invest in that person and they stay? And it's just that for me. Like, I want to invest in my people, and I want to produce the highest quality of care possible. And with that, we have got to produce the highest quality of clinician possible. And we're all trying to learn. It's one of the core values, growth mindset, and it's just part of the culture.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true. Like, if you didn't do that and he stuck around and you kept paying him, like, it would cost you a lot more to have somebody on the team that doesn't know what they're doing. It's not just like the paycheck, right? It's the reputation, it's the culture, it's the impact that it has on the environment within the clinic and the other clinicians around it. And it's like, it turns into not what's accepted, it's like what's endorsed, right?
I always think about just like nutrition, right? Purest form of vitamins, slowest form of poison. Like investing in people is not only going to help you be client centric because now you're getting better outcomes, but it helps you keep your team happy. That, like Chris said, he's valued, he's seen, he's supported. And when you have happy team members, that is contagious, and that continues to be one of the best nutrients you can give. So that's what we're trying to do as a company there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for most people this would be like a fork in the road moment of which way do I go. But it sounds like you already, from the get go, knew where you were going to go because you hired based on your core values, you live by your core values, and there really wasn't too much of a choice. Even though most business owners would probably choose the opposite.
No, that is 100% true.
Cool, man. So then, why the Performance Rehab Authority, the PRA? Like, why the PRA? Why now? Like, what made this mentorship feel like the right call for you and your team?
Honestly, just somebody that walks the walk, kind of leads from the front. I've seen you involved in Con Ed, and you have the same mindset that we have. You know, fitness and movement is medicine, and making sure that you apply PT to that, but then there's also performance bolted on to the medical side. I often say that we play in the fitness space, play in the medical space, and I think that's when a lot of PTs struggle is making that transition from just acute diagnosis to performance, longevity, and just overall health and performance.
Yeah, dude, totally. I mean, you gotta tie it all together. That's like the huge missing missing gap in rehab. So, I mean, were you nervous about making the investment, or were you like already kind of fairly confident that it would work?
You know, I was confident because I knew who Chris was. It's really hard to ask a physical therapist in today's day and age to go out and invest their time into a course that is as intensive as PRA. I mean, you get out what you put in life, and this was going to be an investment, and that's something that I wanted to make sure that Chris knew going into it. Was this is going to be a significant time, but the back end of that investment is going to be huge, and you can never take that away. So I wasn't scared. I knew Chris was up for the challenge, and I knew after talking with you, Raj, you know, you had the leadership that was near what I was looking for, supporting Chris.
Right on. Just so you know, too, I had your back on my initial phone call with Hildenbrand. I was like, "Hey, bro, you're not paying for this, but you need to behave as though this is coming out of your pocket, even though the other Chris is making this investment of you, because it's a big thing. He's taking a big risk right now. Like, you need to put in the work." So, I had your back there.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
what were you hoping that it would unlock in Hildenbrand?
I think he hit the nail on the head. I was hoping for some confidence. I knew he was a good clinician. I knew that he was making the right choices most of the time. And I didn't see him execute all of those things with the confidence that he needed to get the buy-in for the results that we were looking for.
That's huge. You know, I talk to cash clinicians all the time, and it's like a lot of people think this sale is like when you present the plan of care and the dollar amount, and it's like, no, man, this sale it's from the very beginning. Like the first few words exchanged in the subjective all the way through. Like you're either building their confidence in you, like their perception of you as an expert, where at the end they've already made a decision whether they want to work with you or not. And there's no in between. You're either building that confidence or you're not, right? If you haven't built the confidence, then you're dead in the water. So Hildebrand, like when you first heard about the mentorship, how did you feel? Like were you hopeful, skeptical, maybe a little intimidated by the in-depthness of it?
Yeah, I mean, I was all of the above. I was hopeful because this is something Chris was suggesting, and I'm like, well, he knows a thing or two about mentorship and development, so I'll trust his word on that. And then, yeah, like the first interview with you too, Raj was like, I could tell that you were very passionate about it. You weren't just trying to get another number or something like that. It was like truly like I could see your vision with creating this, and you just like writing what you call the Bible. You know, like that takes a lot of work and like time. And
This thing?
yeah. What was really exciting was that all took you 3 years of school, and then however much time to like create this. And I was like, I'm getting a residency and 2 fellowships in 12 weeks. So that's intimidating, but also like really cool because it felt like I didn't have to swim through as many weeds. Because I thought about residency, I thought about fellowship, but this was like, man, I can like get a lot of that good stuff and like the main stuff in this 12 weeks. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of time, but like 12 weeks is so much better than 3 years. And the other cool thing was that you have lifelong access to it. There's a ton of stuff in there, even after like the deciphering and whatnot. But the fact that I can treat someone and be like, wait a second, what was that test? Or like, what was that intervention that was just like a money maker? Oh, and I can just go back and look at it. So long story short, felt all the emotions, but mainly excitement because I was like, this is an investment. It's a good investment. And I'm going to continue to grow my confidence because I'm going to start to know what I know more effectively, more efficiently.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, the whole point is just cut out all the fluff and the bullshit, right? And you were saying before we started recording that you're going through things again, which is the point, man. Like you're not going to get it all at once. I get clinicians that went through like a year and a half ago. They're like, hey, by the way, I'm going through this thing for the 5th or the 6th time. Roll, you know some of them. So Hildebrand, like, what was your first experience of the program like? Like when you first got in, saw all the shit that was in there, started going through it. Was it like a punch to the ego, or was it more of like a breath of fresh air of like, oh man, I'm gonna be so good, or both?
I would say more so breath of fresh air. I think how the program is set up is pretty well organized. The nice thing too about it though was that you could kind of like ebb and flow with it. And I really kind of took this approach of, okay, I have like 5 people who are struggling with low back stuff. I'm going to like apply, and have it sit. That just helps me learn better than like, or I'm just going to like focus on cervical, follow the syllabus, trudge through because it's just too much. So when you can apply it to a person, it just clicks better. So that was nice to have a little bit of that flexibility, little punch to the ego because you just don't know what you don't know. And you think you know a lot after PT school, but you're still drinking from a fire hose there. And then you get out into the real world and not everyone, when you lie them down, has, a positive single leg res test like every time. Or like there's just so much gray area. And so it's nice when you go through the lumbar where it's like, okay, if that happens, this is where you can go from that. Instead of like, well, if that happens, or if it doesn't happen, good luck. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's kind of where I was like, I was banking all my eggs on like these tests. And when you like introduce the mechanical stressors, I was like, this is so much more applicable, like to people, and I was totally missing the like, what are the things in the background that are just like, as you love to say, like scratching at the scab and not letting it heal. Like I was not thinking about that at all before this program. Like I was just, okay, you're coming in here for me to fix you, do these exercises, but I wasn't addressing at all these like sneaky, stressors that created this endless cycle and no progress, So ego was hurt a little bit, but I think in a good way. It was like, wait a second, this is a great opportunity to get better. Like, leave ego at the door, let's learn. So,
I think that speaks to what Roble saw in you in the interview process, because there's a lot of people that take a gut punch and then they just close off and they make excuses. They don't turn it into a breath of fresh air and be like, wow, like, look at all this stuff I'm going to learn, how much better I'm going to get. So a lot of people kind of take that, they close it off, and they'll dig their heels in. So it sounds like somebody saw that in you along the way. So was there a moment, Hildebrand, like with patient care, like you were in the middle of treating a patient maybe, where you thought like, oh wow, like this is really going to be helpful?
yeah, like going back to like one of the favorite tests I've been using is just that cervical or lumbar alleviation test, where you just take some compression off the spine and like people are like, what kind of magic is this, or what kind of wizardry is this? It's like a quick win. And I just didn't know like before this, like how to have those quick wins and to get that buy-in. And again, in like regular insurance, there's not really that pressure. Doctors are just going to keep sending you people, like, but in more cash based, it's like, if you're not, like you guys already mentioned, if you guys aren't establishing that like trust from the very beginning, and you're not getting any like quick wins or like showing them what you're doing, like you said, you're dead in the water. And that's what I started to feel, and hence why there was 0% conversion. It's like, man, where are these quick wins? Like, I can't seem to get this buy-in. So doing that test and just being like, look, like I had a guy, torn rotator cuff, torn labrum, suggesting surgery, just like one of the people that you would bring up. And he's like, I don't know what's hurting it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why my shoulder is so painful. Very fit dude, all this stuff. And I was like, all right, well, let's just do this little test. And it like got 75% better with his pain. And I was like, some of it's coming from your neck. And he was like, that's crazy. And previous Chris would have been like, all right, let's do table slides. Let's start out with some very easy, like isometrics maybe. And we'll keep surgery maybe on the table. I don't want to, but you have like imagery shows this, There's not that buy-in. You're not getting this confidence in the patient. You're not getting this confidence in myself. So just having that, and they're like, holy crap. It's like light bulb. I want to work with you. So.
Yeah. It sounds like one of the biggest things that shifted for you is just having the clarity and the confidence right from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What was like the biggest, let's say, identity shift for you over 90 days?
Again, I would say it's confidence. I mean, and that's why you have the chat, to throw out cases that are just like, what the heck am I dealing with here? But I think, yeah, just overall confidence and just being more like cut and dry, like a clear focus in my identity. Because you go through this, like, you want to respect their opinions and like want to have them like own their plan of care too. But Chris has mentioned this to me too, is like, you have to own it. And the more you own it and you are clear and direct with them and being like, this is what we're going to do. This is what's going on with you. This is when we're supposed to get results. They're going to be like, yes, sir, let's do this thing, But if it's like, well, I think this is what's going on. And like, let's try this, this, and this. I don't know if it's going to do anything, but like just that verbiage, they're going to be like, okay, question mark. And then you start to lose them. And that's something that our clinical director is super good at. She's just like, boom, 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 boom. Here we go. And like, I don't think we'll have a red week for the rest of her life with fitness. Like, she's just like, I'm forever on track. And I'm like, that is where I want to get, is just like, I have a waiting list. I have people that are telling you need to go see Chris, and I mean, even Chris R here, like, he's had people coming here for years and years and years, and like, I'm starting to see some of his people, and it's like, that's awesome. Like, that's what I want. Like, years and years of fellowship, relationship, telling people you need to go see them. So yeah, I think just overall confidence, just having that confidence to be like, I know what I know. I know what I still don't know. And that's why I keep going back to the program. It's just that growth mindset. And the confidence just continues to grow. So,
yeah, and it even plays into like, if you don't know, you can confidently tell somebody that you don't know, and then they're still like, all right, I trust this guy. He's gonna help me out. So I think and what I saw in you as you were going through the program, the people that are like the most successful is the effort that you put in, and like Robo was saying, like who you are as a human, and just like the effort, how much you care about the people that you're seeing, so there's people that will join the program and they can come to live calls and they don't. Blows my mind entirely, right? There's some people, we work with clients around the globe, so like time zone issues, like not everybody can make the calls, but you were there, you were very communicative. You're like, hey, I'm gonna miss a call, I got this thing going on. You changed your whole schedule to be able to attend the calls, right? Which is awesome. And that's one of the biggest things, that you can't teach somebody. You can't teach them to care. You can't teach them to be driven. And something you mentioned earlier about like not knowing what you don't know and building more knowledge. And like when you get out of school, you feel like you don't know a lot. You do know a lot, and that's the problem with the system in general, is that PT school teaches you the knowledge. So you have to pass a multiple choice written test. right? And that's just not how real patients are. So a lot of times people come out and they learn from coworkers, they take random classes, and they just amass more knowledge, and things actually get more confusing because there's none of those puzzle pieces that kind of fit together, or you don't know how to fit the puzzle pieces together, and there's a lot of opposing viewpoints, and people don't focus on how do I develop this system like you have. Cool, man. So, Robo, let's hop over to you, man, because I feel like I've been keeping you silent for a long time. So as Chris was going through the mentorship, or after he completed it, like what changed inside of the clinic? Like what were you seeing? What feedback were you getting from the clinical director, or maybe even Chris himself?
When I meet with Allie, his clinic director, we just talk. She has nothing but good things to say about him all the time. He's trying, he's doing the things, we're having the conversation, he implements, he executes. And I'm like, yeah, but his visits are still not there. What are we doing? What's going on? And so once he started converting, he started feeling like he could fix these people. So he would book them more, and then they would keep coming back. Now we've got long-term patients on his schedule. He's got members and continuity type visits that are consistent. So we're starting to see that change, not only from who he was as a person in the confidence that we've kind of talked about, but from the metric standpoint, it was a significant change as well.
Let's talk about the numbers. If you happen to know any of them ballpark-ish, like conversions, rebooking rates, like retention to continuity membership, like how did that all shift?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, we do our weekly meetings. We're on track, off track. He was in the high teens, low 20s visits per week when he first started, and he's consistently in the high 20s at this point. He's consistently seeing more and more green numbers all the time. And so, we're talking a difference of 10 visits, right? And that's 40 visits a week. We're talking, $8,000 a month change in the top line. And that's huge. From that standpoint, it truly is about getting better results, but building better relationships. That's what our big movement is right now, is building these relationships. We want to make people better than before. They come injured and they better than ever. And so the performance side from him has been significant in that regard. It's not just about visits in the clinic every week. It's in Cash PT, as you know, Roger. We go out and we help these gyms, avoid attrition. We help their gym members, get better. They get better referrals because of that. That's like one of our number one things. And so when we go to these places and we do our little injury screens, it's those quick wins that you were teaching, and it's that buy-in. And those quick wins convert new clients to new team members. It's not always about Chris's schedule. This is why, you've got to take care of yourself first so that you can take care of other people after. And that's the go further together component. And now that Chris is kind of taken care of himself, he is able to contribute and take care of his team members. And, if their clients aren't coming to him, they're going to one of his team members. And that's because of some of the skill sets that he's learned along the way.
Yeah, dude, I love that. It really is a culture, and that's what it is. So let's dive into that. How did this whole series of events affect the culture of your team, or just demonstrate maybe to the team how you embodied it? Tell me a little bit about that.
I love the resilience and the grit that Chris has shown. Like you said, a lot of people get to a point where they just start shutting down, and maybe they just quit quietly in their mind and they just check out, which is unfortunate because there's so much potential in some of these providers. They get so discouraged by the system and they don't know that PT is going to be for them, and they end up leaving the profession. So showing grit and resilience and having his team members see that, yeah, he's off track this week, but dude's trying and dude cares, and they might have an off week. And, they might start saying, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. They see him demonstrate these characteristics, and it's a culture shift when you have people holding other people accountable. And I don't care if you're 1 year out, if you're 14 years out, we're all leaders for each other. Chris was a leader on that team, and he demonstrated what true leadership was along this process. So I commend him for that effort.
Man, very well said. It's obvious that you, Chris Robo, have a lot of leadership experience, because a lot of people don't view it that way. right? They don't view everybody on the team as a leader. There's like this top-down approach, and that's leads to a lot of things crumbling and not building anywhere near the level of what you've built with 4 clinics and a team of very happy, successful people. So that's awesome, man. Hildebrand. So at the end of the program, you were converting, on average, 8 out of 10 people who walked in. How did that feel for you compared to before when you first came on?
Yeah, obviously good. I don't know. I just realized in this job that, again, one of our core values is extreme ownership. This chance to do this program was a chance for me to take ownership of the black and white. I could have made excuses or well, these people don't want to get better or yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, that's why we have the black and white is it puts the responsibility back on you. No, don't make excuses, make results. So that's what this program helped me do. And again, there's ebb and flows, there's good weeks, bad weeks, but I know that I'm putting in the work and it doesn't always reflect it black and white, but having an 80% from a 0, that didn't just happen randomly. There was the work behind the scenes, there was the quick wins that I didn't have before. The goal is just to continue to stay at that and get better at that. Like Allie, who's just forever on track. It's okay, that is what I want. Not having to dread our meeting and being God, I'm in the red again. It's no, okay, put in the work. She puts in the work. This is a way that I can put in the work and continue just to learn, grow, ego out the door, and just be all right. And this week, I was a little off track. Next week, I'm back on track. And I'm continuing to dive into this program and be all right, I didn't know that, or I thought I did, but after I reviewed the video, I missed that key piece. So it's just, again, having that growth mindset, having that extreme ownership, and you get rewarded 80%. That's a lot better. So, yeah.
I just like seeing the smile on your face and how your whole affect changes when you're just thinking about this shift there. And I think it's great, man. You're totally right. You're going to have some ups and downs, and that's totally normal. You know what I mean? Like Robo was saying earlier, there's more that plays into it than just a single, you should convert 100% of people. It's who are they? Where are they coming from? What's the marketing look like? What's the referral source? Is it a qualified person in the first place? That's not to put the onus off of you, but there is going to always be some variability there. But in the end, right now, it sounds like maybe previously, you were focused on selling, right? You felt like you had to sell to them because you didn't have the confidence. So now that you have the confidence, are you selling them physical therapy, or are they just saying yes because you've been able to provide clarity and they trust you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the latter more so. There are some times where, I look back and I was oh man, I could have done that, and that. And it felt more like a salesy thing than just taking care of the person as a person. That's something in the early stages, that I was struggling with. But again, something Allie preached too is just be true, honest, and genuine. Be yourself, take care of the person, and the work will speak for itself. And if they end up not going with you, okay, control the controllables, another one of our core values. Yeah, I definitely think with this course is just treating them as the person. They're looking for you for guidance. I can provide that guidance. And at the end of the day, if they really value that guidance, it's going to be a softball hit, not going to strike out there, So the key is the confidence, and they see the confidence, they're confident, and they're going to be I don't care what the price is, he's going to get me better. So, yeah,
I think that's a golden nugget there. I mean, there are going to be some instances where people just don't value it, right? It's just not, they don't want to invest money into getting better. It's not worth it, right? So if you ask me to buy a $500 pair of shoes, I'm going to tell you it's too expensive. I can't afford it. It's not because I don't have $500, right? It's because I don't value shoes on that level. And there's plenty of people that do, but I'm not going to invest the money. Maybe they just want to come in, they want to see what's going on, and they want to leave, whatever, take care of it themselves. And a lot of times they come back when they realize that they can't actually do it themselves, and you've developed such a sense of expertise in their mind, But more often than not, provide the value, you give them clarity, you build their confidence in you as an expert, and they want to work with you, which sounds awesome, man. Sounds honestly life changing in terms of confidence and not bringing things home and beating yourself up about it as well. So as much as people say, sometimes that they can keep work and life separate. It's just not true. And it's just a lie that people tell themselves. And if it is true, it's because they don't actually care about their patients. Because the way I view it is that you can be the reason that somebody gets to enjoy the one life that they have, or you can be the reason why they live the rest of their life in pain because they tried and now they've given up. Right. And that's what makes me so passionate about helping clinicians help people. And it sounds like you're on the same page. So, Roble, like some big takeaways. Like if you were talking to, another clinic owner, someone that was on the fence about making an investment, in their team, what would you say?
100%. It's a no-brainer. PT business is really simple. You go out and you market, you sell, and then you fulfill. And when you have a clinician that can do those things efficiently and confidently, your PT business is going to grow. It's just that simple. And we talk about it from going out into the community with the docs and bringing in new referrals to going through the initial evals and building that confidence, getting that buy-in, and then ultimately getting the outcomes they're looking for, and then having those people stay long-term and go through the performance and go through like the longevity style PT that we're trying to do. It's been great. Absolutely a no-brainer investment. Sure. And it's not just about numbers and visits, right? We talked about it, but it's about the culture and it's about the brand and it's about who you are in the community and your team. And that little tiny fire grows and grows and grows. So this one little investment could have significant multipliers, 2, 3, 10 years down the road. So big vision, it's 100% worth it.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. You've been in the game a while, so it's like you get it. You've seen, I'm sure, plenty of clinicians who get into cash business and then all they focus on for years is just sales and marketing, and they lose sight of the thing that they're selling. When it comes down to it, you are selling your skill set, your team's skill set. And that's why you have a team full of badass clinicians over there, because it is simple, but you have to have the product, the service to match it. So, I mean, you've already we've touched on this earlier and you were kind of talking about it right now, but in your mind, if, you were to explain this to another clinic owner, like what's the risk of not investing in and not developing your clinicians intentionally?
Oh man. And I've made this mistake more times than I care to admit, to be honest. You just like, oh, I'll just keep coaching them. I'll just keep doing this. And all of a sudden you talk about them in every leadership meeting you have and every quarterly meeting, you're still talking about them. And then a year goes by and you're just emotionally exhausted because you're still talking about the same person with the same problems and you're still doing the same thing. So you have to do something different. And I think this is something that I've learned. You hire out what you're not good at. I am not the con ed, clinical mentor of our company. That's just not what my role is. And if that's your role, great, then own it. But if you have the opportunity to invest in something like this, and then you go spend your time doing something else that is going to drive the business significantly further, you'd be an idiot to turn that down. That's kind of where I stand right now because I've just made the same mistake and I was just emotionally exhausted doing it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it comes with wisdom, right? You're giving people the knowledge right now without the scars that it took you to accumulate them. So hopefully they listen, because as business owners, I've been there too, right? It's like you shoot yourself in the foot, you make the mistake, you keep trying to help, and then it's like something's got to give. Something's got to give. So Hildenbrand, what would you say to the version of you who is stuck at 0%, questioning whether you're in the right spot or maybe even if you should be in the field?
I would have told them, like, keep at it. Like, another kind of theme we have at Physio Room is fail forward, because everyone's gonna fail.
I love that you have all of the core values and all of this stuff living in your brain. That speaks very highly to the culture of Physio Room.
Yeah, they do a good job at making those stick. It just like puts the pressure off. So back then I felt the pressure, but it's again a good pressure. We're not just worried about clients, we're also worried about each other because the clients get affected by us. So I would have just told myself, look, you can either just kind of curl up and be like, this is the best it is, and I'm not good enough for this role. I'll just go back to where I was and make do. Or reassure myself I have what it takes. The people behind me know I have what it takes. They're trying to get me there. And like, this was a perfect example. Like, hey, there's a great opportunity to learn some more stuff. Yes, it's going to challenge you. But again, you're going to be on the other side of this better. Like, why wouldn't you want to be better? And you're in our healthcare system, like, we need to be the best. Like, and I don't think PT gets enough credit for like just how valuable we are and how valuable we can be. And that was another thing too, like that we kind of discussed was, do you truly believe you're worth what we're charging? Do you truly believe you're worth what we're saying we can do? And that was something not really like at the beginning, because I was just like burn and turn, like, all right, well, you're 80% better. I guess that's it, and then I was just questioning, like, am I really like doing the best I can? Like, am I really valued at X amount of dollars or whatever? And like him putting this program in front of me and being like, wow, like we can get better and this can show you that you are valued way more than you think you are. Like, that's a huge game changer. And again, people are starting to see that is like, oh, go to physio room or go to like PRA or whatever. Like, they care about you because they care about themselves and they care about wanting to challenge the status quo of healthcare and not just, just, do XYZ, do a ton of glute bridges, you'll be fine. No, performance. Like, that's what people care about. And that's what we are trying to help them to care about is you should be coming in every 6 months or a year for a checkup. Pain is the first step. There is so much more after pain. That just like gets me amped because we're truly like putting in the work, putting in the investments to get people to that point to understand it. So,
Yeah, I think you made a lot of great points there, like the impact that PT can have, right? Not all PT is valuable. We all know the call them the hum jobs, the hot pack, ultrasound, massage, right? Like that's not skilled, that's not PT. But I want you to know that me hearing that you're taking on some of Robles' patients that have stuck with him for years, like that speaks very highly of you and the trust that Chris and the team has in you. Just in case you haven't like thought of it that way or allowed yourself to feel those emotions, like you definitely should. You should be proud of all the work that you've done. What advice do you have for a clinician who's got the degree but feels lost, like without a system?
first, give yourself grace. Like, I feel like everyone should feel a little lost, but then also like get excited that there are programs like this out there that people have gone before you, and because they've been in your spot. Like, I remember you telling us you were going to your clinical director, your first eval, being like, okay, so I did this, now what? Like, and all of us learning, like, now look at you of like, you're teaching people and you know the next steps because you've put in the work. And so if you feel lost, great, because everyone should feel lost. Not everyone knows it. That's why medicine's called practice, So, but I would say, like, don't feel like you're just going to feel lost all the time. Like, there are plenty of resources out there and plenty of clinicians out there who care to get you better, because when you're better, they get better and everyone starts to win. So yeah, this is a great option if you are feeling lost.
Totally. And I was during an eval, Robo, if you don't know that story. Like, I literally went into my boss's office and I was like, hey, Tina, I got a shoulder eval. What do I do? And I left the eval like 3 or 4 times to be like, okay, what do I do next? Yeah. And then I was like, shoulder impingement. Here's every exercise that I can think of. And I don't think that patient got better, in case anybody was wondering the outcome of it. Cool, man. I think we covered a lot. Robo, anything else you wanna cover or add?
I think with like cash PT specifically, right? In network, you're going to get 7% of all the referrals, right? Or 7% of all like low back pain, low back referrals go to PT. So here we are out here fighting for 93%. And I think a majority of our clients are the clients that go to the other places, fail, and then they come to us. or the people that want the best right away. They're not gonna manage with McDonald's PT down the street, and they're looking for quality. So those are the two groups of people that tend to find their way into our clinic. And if you're not performing at your best, how are you going to serve those clients? I mean, you're just going to be just like everybody else. So this truly was a differentiator in helping separate ourselves from what McDonald's PT down the street is and what Physio Room can be. And just really appreciate, Chris putting in that effort.
Hell yeah. I appreciate both of you guys for putting your trust in me, and I appreciate Chris's effort, Hildenbrand's effort, and I appreciate your trust, Roble, as well. And it just speaks so highly to physio rooms, like doing everything that they can to make sure that their clients get the absolute top-notch care, really no matter what it takes, right? Because those are the values, and you do what you have to do to live up to them. And there's not a lot of places that actually do it. A lot of people, they talk the talk, and when it comes down time to walk the walk, they kind of shy away and they choose when to embody their values. And it's just so evident that Physio Rooms actually lives life, and the employees of Physio Room lives life through the lens of the values, which is pretty awesome. Hildenbrand, you got anything you want to add?
It's a great opportunity. I can still access it, which is awesome. Like at week 11, I was like kind of freaking out. I was like, wait, do I still get access to this? Because I was like, there's still so much to learn. We kind of talked about this in our last weekly meeting, but like, I enjoy going to work. Like there's some Mondays where I'm like, oh, it's Monday. But for the most part, like, it's a Monday. I'm excited because 1, I get to practice what we preach. 2, I get to continue to practice getting better. And 3, like, I get to see results. Like, it's not just this, like, I don't know what's going to happen today, or I have all these people, I don't know how to treat them, or I have way too many notes, or yada, yada, yada. Like, it's a good place to be in. And this program has helped me get into an even better spot. So
I love it, man. So it sounds like you wake up happier and excited to do the thing that you put so much time and effort and money from your life that you're never going to get back into. And my little sidebar here is about burnout. A lot of times people blame burnout on volume, like in insurance clinics. And yeah, that can contribute to it if you're seeing 4 patients an hour, every hour on the hour, like I was, and you have no room to breathe because there's a 30% cancel rate. Like, that can definitely contribute to it. But really what it comes down to is people feel burnout because they're not making the difference that they got into the field to make, right? They're not living up to their own expectations. They're not making the impact. They're not helping people the way that they know that they should be. And now you're not dealing with that. So instead of maybe having some more Sunday scares, it's like you're actually looking forward to getting into the clinic and doing the thing and helping people, because without a shadow of a doubt that you are making the impact now that you got into the field to make. And that is fucking amazing. So this is what happens, guys, when ownership and mentorship come together. This isn't about just one clinician. This is about what it looks like to develop elite clinical teams who change lives and grow businesses on a level that most people are not growing businesses to, because of the way that they're changing lives, and because of the way, not just patients' lives, but the way that they're changing their clinicians' lives that work for them, their employees. They're building the team, the atmosphere in a place where clinicians are excited to come to work and look forward to it, right? If you guys are cash-based PTs or rehab chiros that are listening in here and you're ready to stop winging it, find me on Instagram and just apply to the PRA, right? If you're a clinic owner who wants clinicians who can produce not just revenue, but those relationships and the longevity in your community without needing micromanagement, it's time for you to put your money where your mouth is and make the investment in your people instead of being the person that talks the talk and not actually walking the walk. Make sure you find Doc Chris Roble here on the gram for any kind of business leadership insights, or maybe opportunities if you're in the Denver-ish area. And then follow Physio Rooms to see what elite clinic culture really looks like. Chris, if people want to find you and or the clinic, what are the Instagram handles they can search up?
At Chris Roble DPT on Instagram, and then email chris@physioroomcode.com. Happy to chat with anyone that has any questions.
Cool. What about the clinic? What's the clinic's handle? Is it just Physio Room?
Yeah, we're at physioroomco. or at PhysioRoomCo.
That's what I thought.
Facebook
Right on.
ads.
Dope. Hildebrand, you want people to be able to find you or no?
I'm not really on Instagram right now. So
He's
but,
he's never really been on Instagram.
But we got blogs too that we produce, and like our website's also a really great place. So you can find me on the website. But
yeah. Find him, find his email him all of your questions, spam his inbox. No, don't do that. But if you do have questions, I'm sure he'd love to answer them for you. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I think this has been a great chat, and I'll see you guys soon.